A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 25th April 2020. Day is Saturday. We have a very interesting quote by Alexander the Great. There is nothing impossible to him who will try. A very practical, a very right statement as well. I want you guys to try this thing with tiny things in your lives, right? Tiny things like waking up. Let's say if you are waking up at 10 o'clock in the morning every day, then try to wake up at 9:45 or 9:30. Take baby steps and try this thing, right? And when you will try this quote in small tiny things, this will build your base. This will give you that confidence. This will give you that practical experience that yes, it is possible. And once you have that experience, once you will have that base of confidence, then you can try this thing on bigger things as well. So do give it a go with this difference. Today is Saturday. So total 4 articles we have on our table. But before that, I would like to introduce all of you to our smart course. Yes, StudyIQ has launched smart course on mobile application. This one is for IAS preparation. It covers both your pre as well as mains examination. You can purchase them using EMI available, and to find out more about it, all you have to do is download our application on your phone, and that app will help you with all your questions and queries and everything. You can scan the course, you can know all details about it. Now, total 4 articles. The first one that we are going to talk about is this one, Throw and Crests in the Pandemic Response. After that, we are going to see the state of Bihar, Bihar's dystopian moments and a looming crisis. Then we will talk about joining of giants. This one is about Jio and Reliance. Beg your pardon, Jio and Facebook. Jio and Reliance are the same thing. Jio and Facebook. And the last one is going to be this no 100% quota, a Supreme Court decision on this quota thing. So let's move on, dear friends. Download the PDF of today's lecture from my Telegram channel. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, throws and crest. I know you know the meaning of this thing, but then as well, let me make it a bit simple for you. You know, this ups and downs, we called it throws and crests. So these are your throws, these are your crests, right? So your highs and your lows. As far as this COVID-19 is concerned, COVID-19 has proven the ultimate stress test for governance systems globally. I don't think so there is any government who has achieved 100% perfection as far as this COVID-19 or coronavirus epidemic is concerned. Some of them have performed a bit well compared to others. Some of them are still struggling. Some of them are nowhere near their performance is very bad. Even those governments that are likely to be rated relatively high by scholars of public policy studying this moment later will not pass the examination unscathed. That means even the best performance, like say for example South Korea is a country that I think has done very well. But with South Korea as well, I don't think so they have achieved a sort of 100% perfection. I was going through some global news, and it's quite shocking to know that in countries like Sweden, right, I think 2,000 plus have died in Sweden. And Sweden is relying on people, like it has given this responsibility, or it has kept this responsibility on people's shoulder, that people should follow all these hygiene standards and everything. And it's a sort of, they have a different culture and they have a different way of doing things. But the most shocking thing that I find is that when one of the minister from Sweden, when he was asked by a global media, and this the reference is BBC, you can go through BBC, you will find a small interview. So when he was asked about the steps taken by and why this sort of steps are taken by Sweden, and when we compare this steps taken by Sweden with other countries, right, then what is their standard? So he was asking that what is the world's standard? Means there is nothing called a standard, a fixed thing for the whole world, right? Everyone is someone, they are doing better, someone not. So he said that we have our own, directly, indirectly, what he was saying, that we have our own way of doing things, and we will do what we think is good for our country. So we find this sort of divergences as well, or sort of variety in opinion. But anyway, what normally is going on around the world is, of course, lockdown, right? And lockdown is important to break this chain, and certainly it has helped India. Definitely, I would say it has helped India. Just imagine our country without lockdown. It would be in, I think, the worst country as far as this coronavirus situation is concerned. We would be number one, far worse than US as well, if there was no lockdown. But lockdown is an opportunity as well. It is an opportunity for the government, as well as it is an opportunity for society and for individuals, for all stakeholders. Basically, lockdown gives us most important thing, and that is time, right? It gives us time to think. It gives us time to plan ahead. It gives us time to prepare ourselves. It gives us time to spread our resources. It gives us time to generate our resources, right? Disease outbreaks, even global pandemics are scarcely new. This is not something like lockdown, or this sort of situation is not something, means, of course, our generation is not aware about. We have never witnessed this sort of thing. But if you go through the theory of this epidemics, then lockdown is a standard practice, and the playbook for dealing with them in the sense this pandemics therefore is well understood and has been honed by practices and lessons gleaned from hard fought battles. In the past, humanity has faced some of the worst battles against this various different pandemics. So we know the rules, right? Rules in the sense, we know that we were, as a human beings, we were familiar with this lockdown thing. This particularly government people, right? They are aware about this option, or they were aware about this option. Now, are we making the most out of lockdown? The most important thing about lockdown is that it should provide full support to the most vulnerable members of our society. Unfortunately, in our country, we have the biggest chunk of vulnerable members in the world. I'm talking about the poor people, right? The poorest of the poor people. Biggest quantity of these people are living in our country. And we know that they survive hand to mouth. Hand to mouth basically means that they buy things on regular basis. They don't have any proper shelter where they can store things. For you and I, things are a bit easy because we are living in a proper house. So we have our kitchen, we have our storage area, we have dals and other food grains that we can at least survive on. We have this running tap water, we have electricity, we have internet. All these things makes life a bit easier. Our problems are very tiny. Most of us are bored, right? Because we are within this four walls for nearly a month or so. So we feel to go out and we are missing that freedom. But there are so many people out there. There are, I think, lakhs and crores of people in our country who are suffering every day. They are not getting proper food, water, right, medicines. They are not aware about what's going on. So their challenges are quite big. So the first is or our topmost priority should be to serve these people, to help these vulnerable members of society. Again, I would like to add a few things here. I was having a word with a few of my police friends, and this is something, a grassroots level thing that I would like to share with you guys. They are serving in different parts of Gujarat state, right? Most of them with whom I had a word. So they were telling me that it's like a ticking disaster, or like a ticking time bomb. You know, anytime it can blast. Basically, it means now people are, particularly vulnerable sections of society, they are losing their patience, right? They have suffered from last month or so, and those people who are not able to take it anymore, right? They are means they can come out anytime if we don't do something to help them. So this is the right time for our government, as well as it's not just applicable on India, right? This whole article is about the global response to this COVID-19 in different parts of the world as well. We will say the same thing. If vulnerable people, if they are not provided with survival things, then how long do you think they will follow your orders. Second phase, this is the first phase of, or the first stage of response. Second phase is, I think we have already started this thing in various different pockets of our country to ease the burden on economy. As we all know that we have started a few factories and few businesses are allowed to operate. So this will ease burden on the government as well. And the ticking time bomb that I was talking about, it will divert people from that pain. And if, let's say, even one member of family can go out, and if that person can work in a factory or construction site, and if he or she is earning, let's say, 200-300 rupees per day, then that's not bad as well. That will give a sort of hope to this vulnerable family. This stage can only be safely executed if it is accompanied by war-footing expansion of testing capacity. This is the right time that we should test, if possible, right, each and every society. Particularly, I'm not talking about the whole India, but at least those areas where we think things are a bit bad, or if we think like this area can or may be affected or infected by this coronavirus, then we need to scan each and every person over there, identify and isolate new infections, and implement contact tracing. That if someone has, let's say, if someone has been tested positive, then if he or she has met few people, then we need to trace them and lock down them or quarantine them as well. Final stage is going to be mass vaccination program. Unfortunately, we don't have anything that can protect us from coronavirus, but let's hope that if we find something, even if that is BCG, right, if something that is having minimum side effect, and if we can give it to each and every individual, if we can carry on a mass vaccination program, then that will help us, right? And that is the only option that we have at present. And after that, we need to build our economy as well as our society with as much as energy, robustness as possible. This article is also talking about some negatives, right? What drags a system down? So why have governments failed to do better, and what separates successful responses from failed one? Answers lies in three main limitations of contemporary governance systems. There are three negative things or demerits. The first one is defensive finger pointing, blaming each other, opportunistic politicking. Like if something goes good, then you will highlight that figure and you will try to take all the credits possible, right, for your party, for your government, and xenophobic attitude or posturing. All these three things, I think, applies to Mr. Trump, and he is not the only one. There are so many people like him, right? He has, finger pointed to WHO and China, and of course, China has not played very well either. China was hiding these figures of coronavirus, and in today's statement of USA's minister, he has said that China was aware about this virus from last November 2019. So if that is right, then we have, it is very unfortunate that some of the biggest leaders, when I say biggest leaders, I'm talking about some biggest and most powerful countries, and the leaders who are running these countries, they are not behaving as they should, right? And there is lack of international cooperation as well, right? From the epidemiologists whose data-driven models inform policy debates about how and when to lift quarantines, to the medicine community identifying more effective treatments, to research scientists racing to find a vaccine, we are watching in real time the benefits of intellectual collaboration that does not stop at national border. But unfortunately, few countries, right? China not sharing information, data with the world. USA stepping out from or not providing money and threatening WHO, and all these things are not going to help us. Nowadays, what we are finding is this: there are so many countries, they are looking after their own back. They are not ready to share data. They are not ready to share best practices. And this is a big failure. And all these things are taking place because of this nationalistic, or I would say a so-called nationalistic. It is more about a sort of politics of protectionism, right? That you will give. Few days ago, we were talking about this America First thing. Mr. Trump is now with this, his new immigration policy. He is talking about America First. A few days ago, we were talking about this example that a mass consignment of Germany was snatched from this one of the ASEAN country. I think it was Singapore, and from there this whole consignment was taken to USA. So this sort of things are also taking place, and this is very sad. And USA has ended the funding of WHO. USA was the biggest contributor, and by stopping this fund, USA is not only harming itself, it will not get vital international data from WHO. So this is the biggest loss. The second thing is, what about countries like India? What about countries of sub-Saharan Africa? Right, the poorest country, they need help from WHO. They need money, advice, support, technical support, etc. from WHO. These countries will suffer because of this stand of USA, and I think USA has exploited its dominant position in the past as well. So if by providing $500 million per year is not a big thing, because they are pharmaceutical companies, then they have been pushing this, funding is, if you go back and bit. Anyway, I don't want to go into this topic without a proper research, but there are reports, they say that by giving this funding, right, the USA will also sell more medicines to these poor countries, right? So it's never free. You have, how it works. Second thing is, pandemic response requires a whole of government strategy for which political will and legitimate leadership are vital to convene and maintain. Here this article is giving us example of Germany and Kerala. Germany is a federal country just like India, but the federalism is more practical, more cooperative in Germany. Then as well, means over there central government as well as state governments are also as strong as central government. But then as well, the central government or Angela Merkel, her government took a very, strong position, and they have controlled this whole thing, pan-Germany. So this is a good example as far as Kerala is concerned. We have talked about it, that Kerala has a robust health care system, and this they have developed, successive governments. They have built this robust healthcare system with people's participation. So these are the two positive examples, and we can see here, you can compare this thing with Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh has invested huge amount of money in infrastructure in the past, roads and other things, but health expenditure were quite low, and because of this thing at present it is suffering, Bhopal and Indore and other places. So the third step is, we need to invest heavily in public health systems and other resources that are important, health as well as education. Then we'll talk about Bihar, right? Bihar's dystopian moments and a looming crisis. Before I throw more light on this dystopian state of Bihar, I would like to share some utopian things about Bihar. Utopian basically means a place where everything is perfect. I think we have developed a habit of looking at states from richness or poverty point of view only, and Bihar is a victim state, I think, right? There are many pockets or many states in our country. The people, not all, but few people, they have this stereotype. They say that people of Bihar are not educated and things like that, because they are poor people. That's why they get this sort of thing. But if you go back in the history of Bihar, then you will find some very strong positive things about Bihar, like our Indian culture. You'll find roots of Indian culture. I'm not saying everything is from Bihar, but few prominent things like Mahavira, Buddha, then Magad Kingdom, Nalanda University, if we're talking about education, right, literature. So many things. Bihar was a sort of one of the strongest region of the world. There was a time when it was the strongest. But at present, unfortunately, it's suffering. And the central government, our cooperative federalism is again not that strong. This article is saying that it is a sort of hollow promise. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he promised that Bihar will be given special status after his party comes to power, but nothing has happened on this front. and that's a very unfortunate thing. India's federal system is badly challenged today with partisan governors, misplaced policies and languishing financial assistance, and Bihar has been under financial stress for a very long period of time. If you go back in the history of Bihar, like political history particularly, then you find that they had this feudal political culture, like looking after their own back, looking after their own family and making money, politicians, and leaving the things as they are, or in fact in very poor condition for the people. And because of this thing back in 1990s, from 1990s we find this exodus of labor. People from Bihar, they left their state for various different states, and not all but most of them are working as blue collar workers without any legal protection, without any social protection. And today they are the most vulnerable. They are the ones who have suffered a lot because of this lockdown and coronavirus. It's very unfortunate to find this thing that one MLA from the ruling party was issued a special pass to travel to Quota in Rajasthan to bring his child back from there. Countless others were left to face socio-economic hardship and apathy. In Gaya district and in other parts of Bihar, children were seen eating roasted frogs. Can you imagine this thing? What could be more pitiful than this in a country that will have food grains of over 100 million tons in warehouses by the end of this April, as per this FCI. So here the problem is not food production. The problem is management, and distribution is part of management. Your food grains eaten away by rodents is also part of your poor management. We need to improve this thing, right? We cannot have a central stock of this food item. We need to decentralize it. It's very logical, it's very simple that every village we should have some sort of storage facility where we can save these food items in case if there is any emergency. Then it should have enough food grain that will help survive this whole country and each and every pocket without any transportation facility or coming from one district to another. I think we should not have it at district level as well. I would say it should be at this storage facility should be decentralized. It should be available in each and every village. Right? Of course, we can keep an eye on this thing that it is not misused, but we have this technology. We can have proper lock-in, lock-out thing, so that if you want to take out some quantity from it, then you need proper access key to take out. And if you are taking, let's say, even say 100 kilo from this stock, then we have these facilities now that we can have automatic updates and other things. So that's what we need. So this is FCI has been a big. It's not. I would say. I think it's 100%, not 100%, but 50% failure, I would say. Early on, it was like you're procuring and then taking this stock and storing at various different locations. This is a failed strategy. Now we need a more decentralized thing. Healthcare facilities at district and block levels. And this is not just for Bihar. I think this applies to some of the most developed states in our country. Right? They also don't have that robust or that good district as well as block level healthcare. With Ayushman, we have provided insurance, but insurance will only work if you have a proper clinic or hospital. And Ram Vilas Paswan, he is a food and public distribution minister of our country, and he is from Bihar, and I think he should be sensitive enough to provide this food and other things, particularly food for now, to this vulnerable people of Bihar. So that's what this article is all about. Then we have this article about Reliance, Jio and Facebook. Dear friends, yesterday I was talking about Reliance, Jio and Facebook in daily financial news analysis. So to find out more about it, do check it out, right? Or else you can go through the video, or you can download the PDF from my Telegram channel and you can go through it. I have shared some important points. Now, this editorial is very basic as far as this topic is concerned, but anyway, we are going to go through it. So Facebook has decided that it is going to invest 43,574 crore rupees or 9.9% stake in this Jio platform it is going to acquire. Now CCI, that is Competition Commission of India's green signal, is required. Only after that this deal can go on. Their main focus, it is said as per media report, they are trying to make something like WeChat. This logo is of WeChat. WeChat is from China. So it's like a one-stop destination application. You can get everything done. You can book your tickets, you can purchase something, you can make your payments, you can do chatting and video calling and everything, shopping and so many things from just one application. So something similar they want to build. They have their expertise, like Jio is the biggest mobile service provider of our country. Facebook is the biggest giant as far as WhatsApp is concerned, right? 400 million user base is in India, one of the biggest for WhatsApp or Facebook as a parent company. So together they want to merge their expertise and they want to cater this retail market. JioMart has already launched this commerce marketplace where local retailers are connected with consumers. So with the help of Facebook, they are going to make it a bit more. And I think they can create disruption, but they have their own issues with data as well. No 100% quota. Supreme Court judgment is very interesting. Supreme Court has said that this 100% reservation for teachers belonging to scheduled tribes category at schools in scheduled areas is constitutionally invalid. And Supreme Court, I think, is totally right. This judgment was passed by 5-judge constitutional bench and it was done by video conferencing. If you go back in 1992's this Indira Sahni judgment, then it has clearly stated that your reservation should not cross 50%. Let's say if you have 100 seats available, then maximum 50 seats you can reserve. 50 you have to keep it open. So that's what basically this 50% Indira Sahni judgment is all about. So Supreme Court said that this 100% is not acceptable at all, right? And Supreme Court has this decision of Andhra Pradesh government has been quashed by Supreme Court, and it has said that it has clarified that this will apply prospectively, not retrospectively. Prospectively means from now on you cannot go ahead with this 100% reservation, but those who have been already selected, nothing will happen to them. So they are lucky ones, I would say, but from now on Andhra Pradesh has to follow this 50% reservation thing. Andhra Pradesh has a very unique system. They have this local area system of recruitment to public. So basically, a resident of a district or a zone cannot apply to another district or zone for appointment. Then we are in news items. India must be self-reliant, has been said by Prime Minister Modi. He was addressing Sarpanch on this Panchayati Raj Divas, and he has launched 2 things, very important. First one is e-Gram Swaraj. What is e-Gram Swaraj? It is a monitoring system for rural infrastructure works and e-governance. Very important. You may find a question on this thing in your prelims examination. You'll find at least one question in prelims based on Panchayati Raj most of the time. So very important thing. And then you have Swamitva program. Swamitva program involves mapping rural housing and land holdings via technology including drones, and Prime Minister said that this will help rural India leverage property for institutional credit and other benefits. India records the largest single day spike of 1,752 cases, and this is a big thing. Our total toll is 17,915. 4,813 have recovered from it. 20.57 is the recovery rate, which is not that bad, but things in Ahmedabad, Surat, Hyderabad, Chennai are very serious and getting a bit out of control. If you see this table here, you have 3 different periods given, right, from March 25 to April 10 and from April 11 to 24. So you have 1, 2 and 3. And if you see Maharashtra 19%, 21%, 31%, Gujarat was 6, then 5, then 14%. If you see the death toll or death burden, you find 44%, 36%, 7%, 19%. Maharashtra, Gujarat are on top 2. Total lockdown in 5 Tamil Nadu cities from tomorrow. So 26 April, and then you will have, it will start on 6 a.m. on 26 April and it will end on 29th April in Chennai, Madurai and Coimbatore, and Salem and Tirupur. It will start from 26 and it will end on 28th. Things that will be allowed, not allowed is given here. Please download the PDF and go through it. Ranil Wickremesinghe from Sri Lanka, he has said that we need to have a proper coordination as far as the SAARC countries are concerned. We need to have a second office, maybe in New Delhi, maybe in Colombo, or maybe in Bengaluru, some other places. If things are okay, means if we can operate things from Kathmandu alone, then well and good. If not, then we need to have another center. Uttar Pradesh to bring back migrant workers in phases. Chief Minister Kejriwal has appealed to all these recovered patients to donate their plasma for saving other people's lives. No plan to ease fiscal deficit targets has been said by Chairman of 15th Finance Commission. Taliban has said that we will build ties with neighborhood. China may have known of this virus in November, has been said by USA's minister. And Iran's latest missile launch is a matter of concern, has been said by UK. I have a question for you. Briefly explain Pune Pact of 1932. Tomorrow is Sunday, so directly now I will meet you as far as Hindu lectures are concerned on Monday. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.